Okay, we now have the project running and it has 3 different pages apart from the home page. But as you can see, the home page is pretty much a blank file at this point. We want to go from this to this home page, okay? So we can navigate between pages easily. If you also notice, although the project is responsive, I did not spend uh, all the time that I needed to make it a bit more responsive, giving padding here and changing this button, all of that, but that's not the focus of the project, okay? The project for sure is responsive, but not with all the details. But do not care too much about that. You can do that on your own later. The focus of this tutorial is not Tailwind CSS or anything. It is OpenAI and the chatbot that we want to build. Okay. So for this, what we want to do is to create a new custom component and call it inside the home page. And we'll go from there. So let's do it. Right, so this is how this part of the project is going to work, building up the home page. I am not going to spend much time on this because this does not directly relate to the chatbot. So I'm just going to be giving you short explanations, pasting the code, okay? And then I will teach you a nice trick for you to figure out what the code is doing when you do not know what the code is doing. Okay, just follow the tutorial and you will understand bit by bit. Okay, so as you can tell, I went ahead and inside app, I created the components folder. Inside it, I created the landing page .tsx file, and I am inside it. And you can see that also here. So if I close everything and I open my source, my app, components. There you go. This is the file. And all I'm doing is importing that landing page custom component inside my home page, which is of course the page.tsx file that came with the installation. So now I want to develop this custom component. So let's continue. We are going to build this component, and the first thing that I want to do is to, of course, import all of the React hooks necessary and all the images that are going to be needed and all of that. Okay, so all I'm going to do is actually to copy paste those imports and paste them right at the top, as you would expect. These images are already inside the public folder. Okay, we did this already. So this iPhone 15, it's this one. Okay, and if you are familiar with the recent versions of NextJs, you know that when you deal with React hooks, among other reasons, you need to turn a component from a server-side component into a client-side component. So this is basically a standard these days. And for that, all you have to do is to use that directive at the top, use client. Otherwise, you will get an error and the app will crash. Okay. Okay, for now, let's just focus on the main landing page component and let's build all of this. Okay, this is going to be basically a container element with a flexbox layout, and inside it will have 2 columns, the left column and the right column. So let's start building this. So I'm gonna style it right away, and I got this suggestion, and I don't want that. So I want to use my classes. I'm not gonna really spend time explaining you what this does. As I told you, this is not a Tailwind CSS tutorial, but the only one that I'm gonna actually explain you is this one right here. Okay, I'm using this to reverse the order of the columns. So basically, On a smaller screen, I want the image to stack on top. On a larger screen, I want the image to go to the side, to the right hand side. Okay. Inside, I'm gonna have two new divs, 1 and 2. So left and right columns. Okay. So inside this one, the left one, I'm gonna also style it. So class name, and I'm gonna use flex call items center, justify to the center. I want to use bg black, and on MD I want the width to be 1/3 of the size. Okay, and that's it for the parent div. So the right column, I'm gonna also style it, and I do not want these suggestions. So flex call, which means things will stack on top of each other. Items to the center. Okay, I want to justify to the center also, and I do not want this class. I want to use a bg black, and I want a custom padding X of 10%. You go with a different padding if you want. Padding top 16 using a Tailwind CSS utility class. The text needs to be white so we can read it, of course. On MD, I want the width to be 2/3, and on MD, I want to remove my padding top. Okay, so this is the basic setup for our wrapper divs. Okay, now let's work inside the left column. Okay, so I'm actually gonna paste a comment here so you do not get lost. So this is going to be the left column. Okay, in this column we'll have basically another div which will contain the title and the image, and you saw this before, so I'm just gonna copy paste this. Not gonna really spend much time on this, and I'm gonna format my document using Prettier. Okay, so left column is now done. Okay, and we can move on to the right column, which is this one right here. Okay, the right column, I'm actually gonna also copy paste a comment. I like to use comments because when I'm looking at two screens, I'm sometimes get lost. So I want to use the comments so I know where I am at all times. On the right column, we'll have a lot more content. Okay, we'll have an image right at the top, and then we have a call to action button right below it. Okay, which take us to the official website, and then we'll have a div with a bunch of paragraphs, so just a bunch of text. Okay, and after that we'll have a divider. So after that we'll have a divider, and this means this divider class, as you probably know, does not exist inside Tailwind CSS. That means we need to go inside our globals.css and add that class there. I actually have added some custom CSS code for this project when I created the starter code. Okay, so this is the class that we are going to be using here. This is the class for this div. The div will be empty and we'll have just this class. So it's basically some styling. And I also added this in order to remove the browser's scroll bar without losing the ability to scroll up and down. Okay, so this makes the pages look way better in my opinion, and the user can still scroll up and down. So this is good, so we can now continue. Time to add another div. Okay, let's use the format document here. So this is the div that I added, so just a bit more information. And below I want to still add more stuff. I want to add another div right here, so below this one, and this one will include a link to the official website. So this looks good to me, so let's format the document and continue. So in terms of the columns, we have added all the code necessary, but we need to work with some logic. Okay, so we need to use we need to use some React hooks to do some more stuff. So that's what we need to do now. Okay, actually, before moving on and dealing with the logic that we are missing inside this component, I would like to take the chance and show you our progress in terms of the UI. So this is our tutorial tab. This is what we are building, and as you can tell, we now have like the home page pretty much done. Okay, we are for sure missing that big orange call to action button that will allow the user to click and start chatting with the bot, as we can see here in the final project. And we are also missing this navbar component that will allow us to navigate between pages easily. And do not forget that these pages are feeding our bot. So the content inside these pages is feeding our bot. So our bot is aware of the content of these pages, as I previously demonstrated you. Okay, and in terms of the navbar, we will also build a small animation. And when the user scrolls down, the background color changes, and when the user scrolls up, goes back to black. This is just a tiny animation. This is not really important. So this is what we are missing, the navbar component, and that's what we are going to be building next. So let's continue this.